Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. And this is your tip of the week. I'm going to be demonstrating two different types of pockets that you can put on clothing. When I'm sewing on clothing projects, I like to have a fabric marking pin. There's water soluble and or heat sensitive marking pins. And chalk is something I always like to have too. The marking pins are great for medium to light colored fabrics, but once your fabrics start getting darker, these don't show up, so you need to have some chalk. This is Dritz chalk, D-R-I-T-Z. You can find it on the internet, Walmart, Joann Fabrics and Crafts. And in this one, you get two different colors of chalk, a light and a darker color. And then they throw in this little sponge that you can use to clean the chalk off of the clothing when you are done. For this demonstration, I'm going to focus on a pair of shorts, and I'm referring to this pattern that's a McCall's pattern M9046. Now, I'm not going to make the pants in this demonstration, but this has 5 different types of pants on it. So if you're interested in this, you might be able to find it on eBay. That's where I saw it last. This pattern gives you several options for pockets. There's this style here that's stitched around this area so that you can slip your hand in where it's curved. Now, if you'll notice, I've highlighted 4 different markings. There's one up here at the top, and then it goes down over here onto the other side of the pocket, and then there's 2 more down at the bottom 2 corners. Here is the main piece for the pants, and you will see all kinds of markings on pattern pieces that you purchase. And if you've never looked at one before, it's like learning to read a foreign language. So if you are new to this, I do have a video link that will be listed below on how to read a pattern. It's a whole different language all on its own. So this is the main pattern piece. There are several markings that I've highlighted. This little square up here, and then down to my right side is another little circle. What you do is you match these little symbols that are on the pockets down on these 2 here, and then there is on the more markings that to match the bottom circles of the pocket. Now pretend this is my pants fabric, and I've already cut my main pants piece out. But before I stitch anything together, I'm going to take those markings, or those little dots that were on the pattern piece, and I'm going to put them on the pockets. You can either use the fabric marker, or if you're using dark fabric, use your chalk. And so I've got a dot here and here, and then the 2 at the bottom. On the pattern piece itself for the pocket, it will say to cut out 4 of these. Well, when you're cutting pockets out, your fabric's usually folded in half, so you can cut 2 out at a time. So here I have my 2 pieces of fabric, and I've already stitched mine together. So you bring front sides of your fabric together, which is the pretty side, and then you're going to stitch around these edges here. You're going to stitch a little bit on each side near the corners, but leave an opening right here so that you're able to turn this front side out later. Before you turn it front side out, you need to cut some fabric off of the corners down to about 1/8 of an inch wide. Then you need to take some scissors and cut little clips on the curve. That will help the fabric to lay flatter once you turn it front side out. When you're clipping, you want to cut near the stitch line, but make sure you don't cut through the stitches. Then you want to reach inside and turn it front side out. On the pattern instruction sheet, after you turn it front side out, it tells you to press the pocket, fold the edges in at the opening inside, and then do a slip stitch or a ladder stitch to close it up. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to show you how I think is a better and quicker way to do this. So here's how I recommend you do it. Don't use a hand stitch to close this opening up. Just fold it in and press. Before I stitch it down on the pocket, it doesn't indicate to do a top stitch on the opening part of the pocket where your hand goes in. So I'm doing a top stitch close to the edge. Then I'm going to place it on my pants fabric. So here's my pants fabric. This part of the pocket will go on these two little white dots, and then the other goes up here. Then you're going to pin it down and stitch a top stitch close to the edge along this edge, all the way down over here, and stop up here. And at each end where you do the stitching, you want to back stitch. Now here's another style of a pocket that they have in this pattern. Now I didn't care for the instructions on this, so I did mine very different. But I'll quickly go over what they want you to do. Cut out 2 of the flap that goes over the top of the pocket to close it up. And then they want you to cut just 1 of these. Then there's a fold line that you fold your fabric over like this. And then they want you to fold the edges all around, turn that back side down onto your pants fabric, and then stitch on 3 sides. Well, I worry that they never mentioned in the pattern to do some kind of overcast stitch on your raw edges. Because when you start washing it, over time it's going to unravel. You're going to find that there's going to be little knots of strings of fabric collecting inside that pocket. On this piece, they told you to cut out 2 and stitch on 3 sides, and then turn it front side out. Lay this part down on top of the pocket, and then stitch along here, and then trim some of the excess off. Again, the raw edges are exposed. So here's a better way. So here's what I did. I cut out 2 pieces for the bottom part of the pocket. Stitched around all 4 edges, except I left a small opening on 1 edge. Then I trimmed excess fabric off of all 4 corners. Then turned it front side out and pressed it really good. Then at the top edge, before I stitch it down, you want to do a top stitch across the top edge here of the pocket. Then place it down on your pants fabric and pin it down. Make sure you match the pocket markings to the pant markings. Stitch around just 3 edges, these 2, and across the bottom. And again, when you stitch, back stitch a few times here. Now for this pocket piece up at the top, I did the same thing. Cut out 2, stitched around all 4 edges except left a small opening on one of the edges. Clip the corners off, excess fabric. Then turn it front side out, pressed it, fold the edges in on the inside. Then I placed the top edge of the pocket about 1 inch up from the top edge of here. Placed it there and then stitched across the top edge, back stitching at each end. There's no way the fabric is going to unravel. It's going to be a lot more secure. Now, if you want to do it the way that the pattern says, make sure you do an overcast stitch on your sewing machine, or you use a zigzag stitch. For those of you who have a serger, I highly advise that you use your serger. If you are a beginner, this is a great pant project to get started with. There's no zipper involved. It does have an elastic waist. All 5 views have an elastic waist. You don't have to put the pockets on if you don't want to. What I like about this pattern is it's got all of these different lengths. Shorts, just above the knee, 2 different styles of capri pants, and then a full length, and these look like they have a little bit of flare. Now remember, whenever you buy a pattern, you need to read the back of the envelope for the size information. So you need to measure your body before you go to the fabric store to buy anything. Know your hip size, your waist size, and your bust size. And then you look to find that size on the pattern that fits your measurements. Also read what supplies are requested on the back of the package. It'll tell you the types of fabric they recommend and any other notions that are necessary. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tip of the week and that you've learned something new. In future tutorials, I will talk about other pocket styles on clothing. Remember, if you've never read a pattern before that you've purchased, then you need to view that tutorial I have on how to read a pattern. You just scroll down to the description section below your YouTube screen. Click on the words Show More or the down arrow, and it will expand open, and you will see the link to how to read a pattern. There will also be links to my other tips of the week. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.